Hey, all you GGHLers, this is take two of the Bronson Ride trade tree video where we're going to go through all of the different iterations of Bronson Ride movements around the league. And thanks to the work by Strom here, he's going to give us a nice little, rundown of what he was able to uncover through this mess, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So where do you want to start?
Let's just start in the top left with the first ride tree and what I got back from Carolina.
Cool. So Sebastian Aho, Samuel Girard, Alexi Hiponiemi, Ryan McLeod, Mason Langenbrunner, Skylar Brendamore, Matthew Hill, all for take a deep breath. Essa Lundell, Ryan Johansson, Blake Coleman, Bronson Ride, Connor Punnett, Aiden Castle, and who first? Okay, so let's go through the Flames one first because that's a lot of pieces going both ways for that. So let's break down what you acquired in this first, then, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's start. So first on the far left, I got Sebastian Aho. He was my 1C for a good season or two before I traded for Matthews. And I didn't I don't remember making it like past the second round with him in the playoffs, but he was solid. And then I traded him to Montreal along with a couple other pieces for Owen Power, Cole Caulfield, Milan Ivy, Dmitry Kochetkov, and Chris Dubé.
And that was our big deal that we did, where you got Caulfield and Power, and then I got what Robert Mancini in that deal as well, right? That's the
Yeah,
only highlight from it, really for me.
Mancini. Yeah, that's the only thing you have left, pretty
Of
much.
it, cool. But so, what were you able to trade Owen Power in towards? Because I know you had a
I
couple seasons of him.
he played 3 seasons, 3 cups in a row, and then he was gonna walk to UFA, and this is whenever I had no power due to the hurricane, because I didn't have power for
Right,
like a month.
right.
So I traded his rights along with Brad Lambert's rights, Dallas for a second in 2020 2033, and a third in 2032. The third I traded to Toronto for Brian Ford, and he was just like an okay defensive player. He ended up leaving in UFA,
And
and
then
he also,
the other one was packaged for Darlene. Is that what I'm
yeah,
seeing
it
right?
was part of a package of picks, like I think like 2 seconds and 2/3 or something like that for Darlene, who played a couple seasons in Calgary, and then uh, he, I believe I traded him the same season I traded Bronson Ride the second time. I traded him to Carolina for 2 seconds, and I used those 2 seconds. I drafted Pierce Klein and Igor Heldak, and then I ended up trading those two players to meet the Rangers for Ty Nelson, who played like he was like a deadline pickup who had 1 year left, so he played 96 games and then won a cup, and then I traded him in the package to Pittsburgh this offseason with Olivier Lopez and Angelo McNeil.
And that's the big trade of this offseason to have Koivunen be the starter now, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. So that's the full part of the Aho tree, right? I
yeah,
see how you had Caulfield, but you walked Caulfield to UFA after a very successful 10 year in Calgary, and then the rest of these were just kind of dumps, if I remember right. Right?
yeah. And Chris Dubé was like he was a throw in a package that I sent to the Rangers for Dawson Mercer.
Gotcha. And then yeah, you had Gerard, and Gerard was solid for you.
Yeah.
Um, ooh, the Hiponiemi one looks like it branches out a lot. Why don't you walk us through that one?
Hippie Nemi, he was a throw-in depth player with the package for Kakinemi. It feels kind of cheating because an idea was like 4 seconds and 4/3.
And
but he was
Guy and
awful in it.
Hiponyemi was Guy. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it happened, and then I feel Kotkaniemi was in the big package I sent to Toronto for Matthews,
Okay.
and then obviously Matthews like being like the best center in the league, I won cups, and then I traded him to Detroit for my own first back, Angelo McMillan, Evan Veronic, Billy Knight, and Detroit's first.
Hmm.
And
Right.
then with my own first, I ended up winning the lottery that year. I think it was like the the best team to not make the playoffs or the second best team to not make the playoffs, and I ended up winning the lottery and drafting Gregory Buffalo,
Solid,
which is
solid, so a solid change of fate there.
yeah, pretty nice. Uh, and then with Detroit's first, I traded up with Minnesota with that first and Toronto's first and a Winnipeg fourth, and I drafted Caden Doherty, who's been a like a solid top four pairing defenseman for me
Okay.
so far. And Billy Knight, I ended up trading in the package to Winnipeg for first overall. I think 2 years, 3 years ago now, and I drafted Capo Koivunen, who just set the record for most wins in a season.
For a rookie goalie, way to go.
No, this
Oh,
ever.
wins and ever. Okay, you just played them all the time.
Yeah, he's gonna play like 79 games
Damn.
this year.
Okay, riding that back up real good. Okay, and then you took real Nick, Evan, not real
With
Nick,
real Nick.
and you turned that into Remdecker, which
Yeah,
Remdecker has
and
been a Calgary Flames
he's
legend.
been amazing this year. He's a plus 50 playing on my bottom six pair.
Way to
Plus
go,
51. He had 26 points and he's plus 51.
way to go, Remdecker. Would not have anticipated that. And then McMillan, as you said, was part of the Ty Nelson deal, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, so let's go to Carolina, and we'll go through everyone but Bronson Ride for what they got in return for all of these potential assets, right? So, yeah, so we'll skip Bronson Ride because we'll do Bronson Ride last in this one, but we'll run through all the other branches of the Carolina one. So, they got Essa Lindell, who went to UFA, right? So it looks like he
Yeah.
just played at the last of his days and,
I
walked.
think it was just the first three are just kind of like
Cap
like
dumps. Okay.
capped. Yeah.
Ryan Johansson, which was traded for effectively nobody, who was traded for a draft pick who is in the KHL.
Uh, the Rory Lucius became like a pretty good. He looks really good as like a finesse defensive winger, but he's been in the KHL for 10 years.
Okay,
He's played like 2 seasons in Florida. He's on Florida right now.
gotcha. Blake Coleman, which turned into Evander Kane, who, yeah, it looks like he just walked in
Just
UFA.
yeah, yeah,
And Bronson Wright will skip. Connor Punnett, which played 4 seasons somewhat pretty effectively, I'd say, I
yeah.
guess.
For Connor punted.
Yeah. And then traded for a third and Kathanainen, who both of which don't look like they're going
Just
to be anything.
no. They're both of them are like their best tech is like 12 and they're like 30. So
Ouch. So they're nothing. Okay.
no,
They
nothing.
also got Aiden Castle, which Aiden Castle looks, he looks like he had a very solid career in Carolina. It's
Yeah,
actually a little bit like they moved on from him though for a
they
second.
and Gennady Pimenov and Matthias Higgins.
Thias Higgins. Okay.
And the second is Quinn Ardana's. I think this is when Carolina was doing like only centers.
Oh, okay.
So he drafted that guy, and that guy, I think his best tech is like 10. He's really bad. So he'd be like 25 now.
So he's still probably nothing of anything.
No. And
No.
then with Gennady Pimenov, he traded him to Boston for fourth and a second. And the fourth was Stefan Del Bel Blues, who he let walk, and then I signed him, and then I traded him back to Carolina with a third for Evander Sissegoy, and then he let him walk again.
Oh no,
And he's not really anything.
he's not much of anything. Okay,
No, no. And Artem Kuznetsov is also just not good.
I see your note there. Yeah, doesn't look like it's much of anything. And
Yeah,
then
Artem Kuznetsov is he only has two greens, and their acceleration and speed with and it's 12. Everything else is red or
that's generally not a good sign, to say the least.
no.
And then also in this, you said they got Matthias Higgins, no mistake, Matthias Higgins. Um, Looks like this one branches off as well. Was the Higgins for Perfetti and Suzuki a straight 1 for 2, or was there?
There was a like a first involved two first Higgins, Red Dick, and Mark Scheifele for Perfetti and Suzuki.
Okay, that's what to say. Like, damn, Matthew Higgins got Suzuki and Perfetti. All right, so
Yeah, no.
the Higgins plus first. Ooh, can't remember what you just said.
Two first and Mark Scheifele
Two first, Mike Scheifele, and don't forget the red dick.
and Red Dick
Red dick, right? For Perfetti and Suzuki. And which one do you want to go through first, Perfetti or Suzuki?
Suzuki.
Suzuki. Okay.
So Suzuki he played 2 years in Carolina, I believe, and then traded to Detroit for Vinny Zito, Issa Cantangelo, and a fourth. Zito is a pretty bad defenseman who's left in UFA. Cantangelo could like maybe be like a 650 man on like a bad NHL team, and he still has him. And the Detroit for he drafted Hollis Sanford, and he doesn't really look like a future NHL player, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. And then so
Uh,
Perfetti, is that everything for the Suzuki one, or right?
yeah, that's everything for Suzuki.
So for Perfetti, you got a third in Cameron Marlowe. I don't know the careers of either of these. I'm not gonna lie.
Third, Bruce Martinovich. He like Sanford. He could potentially be like a fifth, sixth D man, but probably not. Cameron Marlowe. He was traded in a deal that ties into the Bronson part of this trade.
Okay.
To Pittsburgh, and then if you scroll down, he also got Asador.
Okay. He did. Okay. So in Asadorian, he got a lot for, if I remember correctly. Did I lose you? No.
Yeah, you traded for him.
Yes, I did. I traded Salvatore Guzzo, which was a cap dump, three firsts, mine and my two firsts, and the Chicago one, which I got for LDP. Uh, Ty Petro, and which are two guys, random guys, for Alex
Understood.
Asadorian and Vili Lofgren.
And Sissegoy.
Sissigoli. Oh, I don't remember Sissigoli, but um, yeah, Asadorian and Lofgren were the two, and yeah, I traded a lot for it.
Yeah, the the couple first, like the 2038 first, which is Yurki Nermiko. He looks like he could be a good two-way forward center. Like maybe these players are only like 18 or 19,
Right,
so it's kind of hard to
to
tell.
tell.
But yeah, and he also drafted Luke Clark, a high con playmaking center with the Chicago first, and like yeah, it's just too hard to tell if they're gonna be good or not. And Callum Newman was also drafted, one of those first.
You know, have a scouting report. I don't think I have a scouting report on them either. I bet. All right. Is that everything except for Bronson?
Cole Hawkins.
Oh, Cole Huckins. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Cole Huckins was also in this.
He had 6 seasons in Carolina. I think he's the player with like the most time. in Carolina because this is his first stint because he reacquires him from the
Okay.
Bronson ride part. But in the first stint, he played like 6 seasons in Carolina, and then he was traded to Detroit for a second, and Jerome Brennan. The second he drafted Jack Davis, and he never became an NHL player. He plays for the Aalborg Pirates,
Where are
and
the Alberg Pirates located by chance?
I let me take a
They're located in Alborg. That's where they're located.
look. uh,
DEL.
they, yeah,
Yeah, look at that. Okay, and then Jerome Brennan.
Jerome Brennan, who also had 6 seasons in Carolina, but 100 less games than Cole Huckins.
Okay,
He got traded to Chicago for Adam Peterson, who I guess he just let walk. He plays in Sweden now. He's not really good. A first and a second, and
right,
with the first and second, he drafted Mayor Grabinski, who's he's a physical point man, but he looks like he could be a solid top four defenseman.
right. Even
And
yeah, physical appointment's not one that I would run
yeah,
away from. It's not ideal, but yeah,
and Will Pellerin, who I'm not sure about the con, but he looks like he could be like a good
a good goalie.
a good goalie. Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah,
only 20, and he has
right.
like nice ads. So far,
Also, yeah, in Sweden now with like the triple E's. I appreciate on your lucid chart.
that was not intentional, but I'll leave it in.
And then the two firsts. Actually, we almost skipped the first.
Yeah, with the first, he drafted Luke Cortizon, who you offer sheeted him for 750K, and he just let him go to you with no comp.
Hey,
And I believe he was like a 7.3 average rating D man for like 10 seasons.
sounds about right.
But
He's on the Predators now.
yeah, but this year he has 60 points in 80 games with an 8 average
Oof.
rating.
Hell yeah. Way to go, Luke.
He he best season of his career at 33.
My board never liked him. I don't know why.
Howdy.
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
We're running through the Bronson Ride trade tree again. You're welcome to join us if you want to click on one of the links, or you're welcome to sit and watch, or whatever you want, Joe.
I came to see what you were doing.
No? Okay. Anyways, so Shroom, the Carolina last part is Bronson Wright himself, right? And this gets messy. It looks like.
A little bit, yeah. So Bronson Wright played 4 seasons in Carolina, and then he was eventually traded to St. Louis for Kim Blessing and two firsts. The Colorado 2030 first he got for St. Louis. He drafted Grant Vigneault at 15th overall, but he never played in a game in the NHL. So
Sounds very 2030 draft.
yeah, that those were the dead era of drafts. Uh, we'll start with Tim Blessing. He played 5 seasons in Carolina, and then he was eventually traded in a package with Cano Fimis to Buffalo.
Okay. From East Buffalo Teal.
Yeah, he got Drayton Della Piolara, Beckett Coburn, and a third and a fourth. And he eventually traded DDP. And remember Cameron Marlowe
I
was
do
also
remember
part of
Cameron
this
Marlowe.
trade.
He's also part of this? Okay.
Yeah, to Pittsburgh for John Michael Petit and Christoph Klimek. And he never signed Klimek, and he still has Michael Petit. It was like a decent bottom pairing
Decent.
defenseman.
Okay. And then Coburn is unfortunate, kind of how it's not worked out so well for him so far, at least.
Yeah,
885 save percentage is not ideal.
not no.
Um, the third, which got traded for Don Elmore. Way to go, Don Elmore.
Yeah, 25 games played, 4 points.
6.9 AVR. Way to go, Don Elmore, enforcer. Uh, and then the 2035 fourth turned into Corey Roy, and it's pretty solid for Corey Roy for a fourth actually.
Yeah, and then he traded him to Minnesota for Kinsley Hatcher, and Hatcher walked, I believe. I forgot to put that in
Okay,
there. And the final first,
the Gibbons
he
first.
yeah, Cody Gibbons, he traded the back to Detroit for Cole Huckins back.
Okay, is this the three-way deal?
This is the three-way deal,
This is the three-way.
where
Okay.
he traded Cole Huckins and Jeremy Ayers to Tampa Bay.
Okay, so Huckins and Aries to Tampa Bay. Got you. And he gets the first, the second, the third, the first, the fourth, and Bradley
Yeah.
for the Aries and Huckins.
With
Okay.
the first, it was 11th overall, and he traded to Colorado because he didn't want the BPA. He traded it for Drew Hurley, Cyril Seiler, and Andre Lapierre's rights. Hurley and Lapierre walked in the offseason, and Seiler played one season, 82 games, 63 points. Pretty good.
Yeah.
This is solid, like second line winger. And he traded him to Minnesota for Ken Fitzsimmons, Jeffrey Weber, and a 2036 second from the Islanders.
And yeah, no, so yeah, Fitzsimmons probably the one that's the most valuable in that. But
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
a little maybe still what 2036? What's that in relative in
I think it's
now?
fair. I think it's
Uh,
fair.
Hmm?
four seasons ago.
4 seasons ago, so they're 22. Okay. I mean, not
Brock. Yeah, Brock. The second Brock Pace that he drafted from the Saturday trade. It doesn't look like
anything.
he's gonna
Okay.
become anything. With the Tampa second, he drafted Matty Totro, who is a 22-year-old goalie who looks like really good.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, he's
And then
Finnish.
the Finnish 22-year-old goalie with the name
Yeah,
Totoro or Totoro. Okay.
Totro.
And then the third, which looks like it was just the third that was just used.
Yeah, and he drafted him and just not a good player. He was
Libor Kubis for which rocked it in the AHL. Has he played any NHL games?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. He's just AHL Ovechkin.
Pretty much, yeah.
PA Parento. Okay.
This is his first season in North America. As of right now, he has 77 points in 80 games
It's
in the
pretty good
AHL.
in the AHL, yeah. Geisha Adamo doesn't look like he's playing in the Alps, so something maybe something will happen. Apparently, if you play
Yeah,
in the Alps, you apparently get goaded. Um,
yeah.
and then Don Bradley. Okay.
So that's what Carolina got from trading Bronson Rye to St. Louis, and then St. Louis.
That's what Carolina got for trading to. Oh, that is to St. Louis. You're right. Okay, sorry. And then
And then
St. Louis. Okay.
yeah,
This first trade is a Jordan was the last one a Jordan and
last one was Jordan Alex,
Alex. Okay.
and then the next trade, the Rye trade to Anaheim is when Jordan and Logan switched teams.
Jordan Logan trade. Okay, cool. I know the St. Louis timeline's a little broken, so
Yeah.
this trade Bronson Ride for Barbero and Eddie. Um, that's just a Logan special, right?
Well, he traded Bronson Ride with Remo Cobbler and a first for Barbera,
Okay.
which is pretty bad. I'd
So,
say
mm,
ride for those two probably isn't even fair on its own.
no, yeah, and then right plus. I mean, it, considering that the like Bronson, if you were concerned that Bronson Ride was going to walk for you in a year, I guess, and you had season control, but it's just still not a good look to trade Bronson
No.
Ride for Barbero and Eddie. Anyways, so what did St. Louis Blues legend Joris Barbero turn into?
Well, he played 4 seasons in St. Louis, pretty solid points and average rating. His average rating would be up there quite a bit more, but remember Logan played him at center for 1 season,
That sounds about right.
and his average rating went from like 7.9 to like 6.9 for like 2 seasons. And so he was like a 7.8 average winger, but that brought it down
I
pretty
brought it down
much.
a lot. Okay.
And then I think this trade is a Chris trade.
This is the Chris trade, yeah. Where I got
Uh,
Barbero and Soderlin for Maziar's and the first.
yeah.
This first I got, the LA first, was part of the Geeky and Your Shop to Buffalo first, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Yeah, with the LA first he got from you, he drafted Greg Sarzilin, who I think leads rookie scoring right now.
Sounds right.
So
It's not, he's up there. I remember him being,
he's got 71 in 80 games.
okay.
And then he used Maziar's with the Rangers first to trade up to with New Jersey, and he drafted Tyrell Lewis, who looks like a potential good
Top six center.
moving forward center.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Eddie landed, this is a Logan deal, I want to say, right? Did Logan actually trade away
Yeah,
Eddie?
I believe so.
Logan traded Eddie.
Okay. Logan traded Eddie with Zayd Wisdom to the Penguins for Benoit Newmans and Angelo Piper. And I know the names. I'm not the most familiar with their line of work. Could you inform me?
Uh,
Newens was a beast when he was on Colorado, wasn't he?
yeah, he Newlands is like a playmaking winger. He's pretty good. I'm pretty sure he's putting up like 70 points on a season on
Okay.
Colorado, and Piper is just a two-way forward center, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say Newens is better than Eddie. So
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
on Colorado, Newlands put up 70 points in 77 games and then 75 points in 81 games.
So that's yeah, that's not what Eddie is. Oof. Okay. And they I want to say Jordan was able to change Piper into two first Weib and Vilio.
Uh, I'm not sure who it was, but
Okay.
yeah, it was Piper and John Sebastian Repen and Georgi Tatarintsev to Buffalo for a two first and two funds.
Okay.
And the first with the 2036 Washington first is drafted Miroslav Sikora, who could be like a potential top four D man. He's he looks pretty good. He's only 22, and the second first, the Colorado 2036 first, is Jace Matthews.
Matus.
No,
No H.
Matthew, no H. And I can't look at him because every time I tried to look at him, I crashed the game. But he doesn't look good. He looks like a bust.
Looks like a bust. Okay. And then Weib and View are, aren't anything. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So that is what Logan could have got potentially with all the assets he traded in order to get Bronson Ride to the, or no, in order to lose Bronson Ride.
That's what Caroline. I don't even know.
So this is what St. Louis traded in order to the Ducks, right? So the Ducks
Yeah.
acquiring Bronson Ride, Remo Kobler, and the first. Um, Remo Kobler doesn't look like he had a decent time in Anaheim. It's just
Yeah, he was like a good bottom six forward
okay.
right now. But it they they never really made the playoffs, so
Right.
yeah,
And
he was
then
drafted.
the first round pick doesn't look
Is
like he turned into much.
no, he's not good.
Emil
He's a
Ferraria.
yeah, he's one of those two-way defensemen who just like never get good.
Okay. Well, at least Jordan was able to trade Bronson Ride to the Montreal Canadiens for quite a haul. Um,
Yeah,
in this deal, for a rental Bronson Ride, I traded away Patrick Potter, my first and 2 seconds. Um, the 2 seconds, I don't think it looks like they turned into much of anything, right? Because it's 20.
Kuzmin looks like he's like an AHL goalie,
Okay,
so not really anything
and then
given to
the
rates.
ladies
I I think he either I think he just let it walk
let him walk.
UFA.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then Patrick Potter is Patrick Potter, and the first round draft pick, which was Locke Haley. Um, do you know anything about Locke Haley?
Uh,
Played
no.
29 games, 11 points, and a 5.9 ABR. Was traded with Lofgren and a first to Carolina. Oh, this is the Ty Hubbard deal.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
He was traded with Lofgren and his first, which was seventh overall,
Seventh overall.
For Ty Hubbard and LaSalle. I think LaSalle like retired due to injury or something.
Okay.
Couldn't find anything. And then Ty Hubbard was traded back to Carolina in this season
This season, right?
with,
After a little
with a
bit.
with a fourth for Radislav Puskar.
Yeah,
And
that
Puskar,
that pick was seventh overall. That was for Hubbard, right? And then the in addition to
yeah,
that, damn. And that completes the Anaheim tree, right?
yeah,
So I get Bronson Ride. He plays half a season with me, not thereabouts, and I lose him in UFA. But he
yeah.
signs a 5 year, big money deal with the Detroit Red Wings, and gets traded a season in. Gets traded
uh,
to you for your 35 first, Montreal's 35 first, Vancouver's 34th third, the Avalanche 35 third, Ross Meyer, Raymond McCarthy, Christopher Nurse, Stanislav Filimonov, and Daniel Raskopin. Any one of these you want to dive into first?
we'll just start on the left and work our way
Okay.
over.
So
So
the pick that turned out to be Gregory Buffalo.
yeah, he traded it back to me in the deal for Matthews. It was, and I also traded Cole Spicer and Bernard Docker in that deal to him,
Okay.
which I probably should have put in there, but
And then you traded that
I
in
forgot.
addition to get Austin Matthews, and then
Yeah, and then he
Rick was able to get Rapen and a first uh, for
from
Austin
you,
Matthews. Yeah.
and he still has both of them. And the
Okay.
first turned into like a good two-way defenseman. It
Okay.
like could become like a top four, maybe like a Rem Decker type. And Rapan has been pretty good in Detroit. He's playing center right now, above 7 average rating.
That's pretty good, especially for his low con. I was worried about that.
41 games, 22 points, 7.12 average rating.
Solid. And then the Montreal first, which was traded to Carolina for Connor McMichael. This is part of the big three-way deal, right?
I believe so.
Okay. And Connor McMichael plays 2 years and then retired. I remember him being okay, at least. I don't remember him being good or bad. I know he's retired, so we
Yeah,
can't really check. But
yeah.
the third,
We need
uh,
we need to stop talking shit about gummies here.
okay. Hookers and
Okay.
below. So the third, we're doing the third. The third was a bust, and then the 20 Colorado's 2035 third turned into was part of the Austin Matthews deal, which we covered. Ross Meyer went for Michael Potvin, which
He
I don't
played 10 games and then let him walk to
let him
UFA.
walk. McCarthy played a while though for
Yeah.
the Red Wings,
McCarthy he was pretty good in Detroit.
and then the rest of these are pretty not worth.
They're just
They were
nah.
there. They're happy to be here. So that's the Red Wings part, and this is the Flames part two of this deal, where this is what you were able to do when you traded the Bronson ride away the second time.
Yeah, this is what I got from trading him to San Jose,
Okay.
along with Vanilla Euro.
Hey, I think he hit you. Didn't he hit waivers like the other day?
I think so. I think it's one of us though.
um, so Bronson Ride and Yurov went for the 2036 first, where you drafted Makar Grebsov, and it looks like he's been pretty good for you.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna win the Maurice Richard this year
The Rocket, okay.
in the Rocket.
Is that good? I'm not sure. You might want to
He
healthy
only has
scratch him a couple times.
only has 52 goals in 77 games.
Only has 52. Damn, not more than Peter
What a
Pontra.
scrub.
What a scrub. All right, and then you got the 2037 first, which you traded to move up, right?
Yeah, I traded to move up, and I drafted Karol Kubanek with that first,
Okay.
and then I traded him that first to Winnipeg to draft Kubanek, and then I traded Kubanek back to Winnipeg for first overall to draft
First
Koivunen.
overall with your draft Koivunen. Okay. Then you picked up a second, which you traded along with Cole Johnston to acquire Johnny Brandt. And
Yeah.
Johnny Brandt was what, a third center for you? A good portion of his time there?
The first year he was a 1C. The first 2 years he was a 1C because I was like still rebuilding,
Right.
and he was like really good. The first year he had 66 points and a 7.4 average rating. That's my 1C.
Okay.
And then the last 3 years he's been my 3C, and
He's
he's
been
been
your 3C for now. Okay. And he's still
yeah
on the team.
he's still really solid.
Okay. And then you have Willem Lucas.
Uh, yeah, he's like a depth scoring winger, but he's not gonna become an NHL
Anything?
player. I don't
Okay.
think.
Yuri Doobie 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 Doo, which you traded to Carolina for Jason Buziak.
And then I put Buziak on waivers because I was in cap trouble, and he made like $3 million.
So you lost him on
And
waivers.
yeah,
Gotcha.
and I also got Robin Gula.
Out of the deal, which you then traded Robin Gula. I was about to say, like, I don't remember you with Robin Gula, and it's for 15 games. So for what, three
Yeah,
sims?
3 Sims, probably yeah,
Yeah.
maybe 4.
You Robin Gula was a a life legend Calgary Flame, um, for 2 seconds, a third, and Eric Sabatka. So the first second was the Detroit 2036 second, which was drafted by you to be Zeb Anderson,
Yeah,
and then part of the Ty Nelson deal.
yeah.
Okay, we did Ty Nelson earlier. The
Uh,
the Capitals 36 third was traded to Pittsburgh for Ty
I
Nelson.
I dra- I drafted Attila Anderberg, and then Anderberg was part of the trade to
The
Pittsburgh this
Lopez,
offseason.
gotcha, for to make sure that Koivunen was your starter. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
And then there's the 2037 Washington Capitals second, which
yeah,
was part of the deal to get first overall, which was in order to draft Koivunen.
yeah.
And then Eric Sabatka, which did Sabatka play any time with you?
I don't remember. I feel like he probably played like 10 games.
Like
So
10 games, okay. Which you then
yeah,
traded for a second, right?
I traded for 2 seconds and Burahowski. Sabaka played 40 games,
Okay.
18 points.
Okay.
I traded him to the Islanders for 2 seconds
And
and
House,
Burahowski.
and one of the seconds went for drafting Koivunen. Okay. And the other second went for Joaquim Corvo.
Who was like a solid fifth, sixth defenseman playing with Rem Decker. And then I traded him to Philadelphia this offseason for
A fourth. And then Ishmael Barahowski isn't worth a mention, right? He's his name. He's
No.
happy to be here. And is
He
that
was
is no? We still have more. Ooh, okay,
we
that's
still have like two more teams.
two more. Let's go. So that's the that's your part two, right?
Yeah.
So the San Jose Sharks then acquired a Bronson Ride. Did they acquire anything else besides Bronson Ride, or was it just Bronson Ride straight?
It was Ride and Europe.
And Europe, that's right.
But I was just doing the Ride part.
Just following Ride on this, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bronson Ride, when then Ink Genghis sold him to Tampa Bay, he acquired two firsts, Daniel Boo, Chance Stewart, and Brad Voyer. The What are you going to tell us about these first round picks that he got out of them?
With the 2038 Tampa first, I believe he traded down with St. Louis when St. Louis drafted Gregory Herokin,
Okay,
and he got 20 Florida's first and LA second. He drafted Mikhail Glotov and Libelin Johansson, and I don't really know. It's too early to tell with those
with those, right?
players.
So that's just two drafts to go.
Yeah. And the second verse he packaged in a deal with it was three firsts and a second for Landon McNeil, I believe.
And McNeil's a solid three, maybe two center, I guess, and a pinch.
Yeah. I think he has him playing 2C right now.
Okay. I mean, but he also has Chambers Rautiala, so like, you know, who really is the 3C? Like we all
Yeah.
know who the 3C really is.
Yeah.
And then Dan Boo, who looks like a what you have him listed as a B spec or good look at D spec. Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. He he could be good. He's a little slow developing right now.
Okay. And then the other ones are just kind of nobodies.
Yeah, they just contract scouts or something.
Cool. And that finishes Gus's part, right?
Yeah.
And the Tampa Bay one's really complicated to follow through right now because it's they have him. He's Bronson Wright is a Tampa Bay Lightning as of right now.
No way. They
Wow.
have him?
Yeah,
Wow.
look at that. Cool.
I don't believe it.
Well, thanks for the work on this room, and thanks for bearing with me so we can re-record this because I suck. Yeah. Is there any like who do you have as big winners and losers?
uh well, obviously I'm gonna put myself as a big winger
Okay,
because
fair.
I got Buffalo and Johnny Brandt and Koivunen and Grebstov out of this, and Caden Doherty
It's true.
and Rem Decker.
Oh, Ram
is the
Decker
biggest
is
part of
is
that.
the best part, right?
Yeah,
Losers, anyone who never traded for
true.
Hmm.
Loser, winner. I would also probably have St. Louis, just with how
Right.
he didn't have that much, but he turned it into some pretty good like players.
I joined in the middle. Like, how many teams has he actually played for?
1, 2,
Seven,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
8.
8
I
teams.
believe.
Wow.
But he played for me twice, or he didn't play for me the first. When the, he only played for me once, but I traded him away.
All right. So I guess we'll call it here. I mean, unless anyone has any other closing remarks they want to add into this. All right. Well, thanks everyone for turning in.